Greetings and welcome back, everyone. And I guess welcome back to me as well. I wasn't on the show last week. I'm glad to be back. What you are about to see is a segment from the most recent episode of the Angry Chicken podcast. Jocelyn just couldn't let sleeping old gods lie. She couldn't let them be. She just had to ask me about my opinion of Yogg. And so what you're about to see is my thoughts on Yogg, and then we get into I think a pretty deep conversation about the state of Hearthstone Esports as it stands, and where it appears it's going to be staying in the future. So enjoy.
So you're saying that you are embracing the RNG. Does that mean that you have positive thoughts
about Yogg?
On Yogg.
No. I audibly swore at the television.
Yeah.
The word joke comes to mind. This has to be a joke at this point, or they're done with any sort of preface or attempt to make us believe that Hearthstone is a competitive game. Is my thought on Yogg.
Yeah.
Also, in the same day you announce duels, I go, why isn't this just a duels card? Why don't you get duels? Duels is your chance. Your chance to get the shit out of your system. Keep it out of constructed. What are you doing? Why? Why, Jocelyn?
I'm sorry, guys. I opened the floodgates. I didn't mean to.
You opened the puzzle box.
You've
opened it. You've opened it. You've done Yogg so many times. It always ruins esports. And it's going to ruin esports again.
I swear someone is going to win like $250,000 based on that 5% Yogg roll. And I don't even know.
Yeah. I got nothing, man. I'm done. Like, I'm watching StarCraft again. That's where I'm at.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I mean, I'm still going to enjoy Hearthstone Esports. Those are exciting moments to watch.
I'm glad you will, because the players aren't.
Yeah, no, I know. And I am exactly the person that they're aiming for with these like big, crazy RNG moments. But I almost wish that for esports, they just didn't tell us, but they turned that 5% to 0%. Like, just tweak the card in the background, play on a tournament server, don't tell anybody, so we can still have those like, oh, what's it gonna do? Like spectator moments, but no actual games will ever be decided by that card.
I have no positive thoughts on Yogg. I feel attacked.
Garrett's just taking it so personally.
Listen, not to make light of shit that's been going on in my life, but I didn't have the best week last week. And then when I tuned into the expansion announcement, I was just like, well, that's that then.
Oh God.
Yeah, that was I was like, oh, I see no lessons have been learned. Or it's just the intent. I guess this is just the intention. And then to that I ask,
exactly.
Why do we have esports?
Yeah.
That's where I've arrived.
Which is a valid question, and a question that a lot of the community is asking is like, is this the start of a ban conversation? Will the team ever change their minds on that front? Where do you draw the line? Which is a conversation we've had quite often of like, what's good for the game and the player at home versus what's good for the esports and people trying to take this seriously and make a career out of it. That like those conversations are conversations we've been having for quite a while, but this is definitely re-stoked that fire.
You say re-stoke that fire. I say final nail in a coffin.
Yeah, fair enough.
It is what it is. But yeah, like, and it's not like, now that I've done that, now that I've actually yelled, like, to bring it back down to earth, like, it is a choice. Like, it is something I clearly don't respond well to. It is not what I like in my card games. I like RNG in Hearthstone quite a bit. I think RNG in Hearthstone is done very well more often than not. But when it goes too far, it goes too far. We literally have had a card with the same name 3 times. We're about to have it for a 3rd time that has gone too far every single time. But at the same time, I don't think it's necessarily bad. Like it comes down to what you're looking for, what you enjoy, your own personal tastes in a game like this. And like, even if like for someone like me, if seeing that makes me go, oh man, I think I'm kind of over Hearthstone esports now. I'm really excited about this duels tournament that's going on right now with like Crip and Slissa and folks. Like I want to watch that. Like that seems fun. And like,
that's how I felt about a lot of the Battlegrounds tournament stuff, is like, those are really where I'm finding a lot of the fun in Hearthstone esports right now, is not necessarily engaging with the Grandmaster system too much. Although I still watch it, but it's like Hearthstone Grandmasters I can have in the background, whereas I find it impossible to have Battlegrounds in the background, if that makes sense. It's like, I always want to be watching. I want to see where the attacks go. I want to see the reactions. I want to see the choices when you're in the tavern phase. Like Battlegrounds to me is much more of a like full screen, full attention thing, where constructed Grandmasters is I put it off in the background. Like that's kind of my feelings right now. I'm still watching, or at least listening, but it's a background task.
Yeah, and I see a lot of doom saying, and I'm clearly playing into it a bit. Like with if the game keeps going this way, like where's it going to leave esports? Everyone is like a lot of the top talent and most famous players are switching to content creation instead of pursuing Grandmasters. And I look at things like the Battleground tournament that just happened like a week ago, and I wanted to talk about last week, but I wasn't here. But I really liked that. That was really watchable to me. Like, even though I think, you said you didn't like the Elementals patch. I think the Elementals patch, like straight up, like factually is the worst thing that ever happened to Battlegrounds. Like as launched, I think it got a lot better. Elementals are still overtuned. But like at launch, and that's the patch that tournament was played on. Yeah. Was just like, it was busted. It was absolutely like, it was ridiculous. And yet it was still infinitely watchable as far as I was concerned. I had it on like all weekend. So like, and then you also have this duels tournament coming up, or I think it started today, didn't it?
I can't remember if it's today or tomorrow, but
yeah, it's
imminently.
This week. Yeah,
yes,
it's this week. Like, I'm really excited to watch these things. And so like, and that is coming out of content creation, not out of strict esport leagues that are put on by Blizzard. And so I think if you're really invested in Grandmasters, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be, I can totally see where the doomsaying comes from, that you're concerned where like the, competitive integrity of Grandmasters is going to go. But then also on the other side is like, well, are we getting good content? Like, is the trend like leaning towards content generation? Is that giving us just more entertaining things to watch? Is it giving us like kind of what we want, even if it's within less serious formats of Hearthstone? Like, to me, I go, maybe it just leads to something new. There's been a lot of, I think warranted concern with Blizzard-led esports efforts after things like the Heroes of the Storm esports got axed and Hearthstone got, diminished and also sent to YouTube. And so I kind of look at this and go, hey, it's kind of grassroots, but also that duels tournament is backed by Blizzard and it's happening on Twitch, and that's freaking cool. Like, this reminds me that, like, I look at that, I'm, maybe I'm taking it too far, but I get excited when I see stuff like that, because when I got into esports, it was before Twitch. We were just starting to cover, we were doing our first podcast ever. We were covering StarCraft 2, and we were watching Wings of Liberty tournaments out of Korea on the GOM TV player. It was like 240p. It looked like butt. And then Twitch came, and then like the tournaments were they weren't like backed by Blizzard. Like we hadn't had any leagues come out of Blizzard Entertainment yet. They were these ancillary satellite tournaments run by organizations in Korea, or you had MLG in the US on top of like grassroots and collegiate leagues, which still exist, but I feel like they didn't get as much spotlight as they did back then because it was all we had. And a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of self-sustaining leagues came out of those grassroots efforts because they wouldn't exist otherwise. If people weren't watching them, they weren't going to continue to exist. They weren't propped up by a pre-existing budget, which I'm not necessarily saying is an inherently bad thing, but
it definitely, I think the decisions being made by people that don't have a giant budget behind them can sometimes be a little bit better because I don't know if it's like they don't necessarily want to make mistakes or they're really paying attention to what the audience wants. And also they don't control the game, right? So they don't control the balance. They don't control, like making cards like Yogg to try to get the viewers excited. Like, I think that having the gameplay design separate from the esport and supporting companies like you mentioned MLG, and I'm not currently working for them, but have worked for them in the past. Disclaimer, DreamHacks, like those tournaments were really, really good and really fun across not just Hearthstone, but a lot of different esports. And I think that those products were watchable and had a lot of support before the company came in and said, okay, we're going to do this now. And I think like keeping those two things separate, keeping those divorced is better than having the company try to do both. Like let the people who do competition well, and you focus on game design and it'll work itself out.
Yeah. Cause that's kind of what I come back to. It's been a while, I think, since we mentioned it, but like when I see, concerns about a card like Yogg, whether I like it or not, whatever. Let's just talk about like people. There's a certain subsection of this community that are concerned about yet another Yogg card and its impact on the competitive scene of Hearthstone. I look at that and go, it just kind of feels like the design team and the esports team like never talk to each other.
Yeah.
Or like it's just, there's no influence happening between the two there. And that just seems weird to me.
It seems weird when they control both of them, right?
Yes, it does. I understand.
And I mean, like,
large company.
But if Blizzard, because Blizzard has kind of said we don't want, banned cards in tournaments. If you take esports away from Blizzard and have these other outside companies, then they can say no Yogg in our tournament. Like, so, it's again, taking that corporate hand out of it and doing what's best for competition in the game. Like they could literally just say, okay, we're not going to play with any of the 10 mana old gods, like legendary old gods banned from this tournament, and just see how it goes. And, get players involved, get viewers involved, like see, do the viewers want to see crazy stuff like that? Do the players want to play crazy cards like that? And you can have those kind of back and forth with the community. And like you mentioned, they can be grassroots driven, like they're very much like from the ground up instead of, from the top down. And, both players and the audience kind of being dictated to as in terms of like, this is what you're going to watch and you're going to like it. Because if you don't like it, there's nothing else.
Yeah, which again
that's the other thing. It fosters competition, right? When it's not all controlled by the company. Then, somebody doesn't like DreamHacks, they can go, oh, well, what I do like is like Fight Night or whatever the MLG thing was. Oh my God,
Fight Night, jeez. Just
yeah, like
you got your archaeologist hat there, Jocelyn.
But it's like it opens the esport world up to more ideas and more competition if people can run tournaments outside of Blizzard. And it's very much locked down right now, which I don't think is great for the competitive side of the game.
Yeah. And then on a positive note, like I just want to re-highlight the fact that like there's clearly some Blizzard backing happening with this duels tournament that's being put on by content creators and being aired on Twitch. And I just find that very exciting. That's the kind of thing I look at. Like, all you can have, I am not discounting any concerns about GM, about competitive Hearthstone as far as constructed is concerned. But in terms of just kind of the health of like having players duke it out in any Hearthstone mode on a live stream format, that is cool. That looks healthy to me. And it surprised me at the end of the day. So I thought that was cool. And somehow we got there from duels. But I mean, it's
sorry. I made the mistake of bringing up Yogg. I will own that.
It's not a mistake. This is a podcast. This is what we're here to do. This is what we are here to do. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like that, you want to see the full podcast, if you're YouTube inclined, you can go to youtube.com/amove2. That's AMOVE2, and watch the full uncut podcast there, or you can go subscribe to it wherever it is that you get your podcasts. If you really like what we're doing, thank our patrons, because they're over at patreon.com/TAC right now, supporting us and supporting this podcast. So if you like it, and you want to get some perks, check out patreon.com/TAC and consider supporting the show. Thank you so much for watching this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss future Angry Chicken clips, as well as some of the more unique YouTube content we're going to be putting out for you. Job's done.